Have you ever noticed something strange? Most people say they want more free time, more rest, less stress, a slower life. But the moment they get it, they become uncomfortable. A free evening, a free weekend, nothing urgent to do. And somehow they still feel guilty. As if relaxing is wrong, as if resting must be earned, as if simply existing is not enough. Why? Why do so many people struggle to stop? Why does being busy feel productive even when it isn't? Maybe busyness is not just about getting things done, maybe it is about proving something. Proving that we are successful, proving that we are valuable, proving that we are enough. And if that is true, then busyness is not productivity. Hello, namaste everyone. My name is Sudarshan Regmi. Welcome to Journey of Mind. In the previous episode, we explored why silence can feel uncomfortable. Today, we are exploring something different. Not what we're running from, but what we're constantly running towards. Because for many people, being busy has become normal, so normal that we rarely stop and ask why. Why do we fail every empty moment? Why do we feel guilty when we rest? Why does slowing down sometimes feel harder than working? Tonight, let's explore what busyness might really be hiding. Look around first. The modern world loves busy people. Busy people look ambitious. Busy people look important. Busy people look successful. When someone asks how we are doing, many of us answer the same way, busy. And strangely, it almost sounds like an achievement because from a young age we learn something very quickly. Achievements gets rewarded, result get rewarded, and over time many people begin to connect productivity with value without realizing it. We start believing that doing more means being more, and that belief can quietly shape an entire life. At first, busyness is just something we do. We work, we study, we build, we improve. There is nothing wrong with that. But for some people, busyness slowly becomes identity. Instead of saying, I work hard, the mind begins saying, this is who I am. And when that happens, slowing down becomes uncomfortable. Because if your value is connected to productivity, what happens when there is nothing to achieve, nothing to prove, nothing to accomplish? For many people, that question feels threatening. Have you ever had a completely free day? No deadline, no pressure, no urgent responsibility, a day that was supposed to feel relaxing, and yet you couldn't fully enjoy it. Part of your mind kept whispering, you should be doing something, you should be using this time, you should be getting ahead. Why? Because when productivity becomes connected to self worth, rest begins to feel unearned. And when rest feels unearned, guilt appears. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you have learned to measure your value through activities. This creates a cycle. You finish one task, then look for another. Reach one goal, then creates another. Solve one problem, then search for the next, and eventually you begin living with an invisible sentence in the background. I will finally relax when? I will finally be happy when? I will finally be enough when? But the moment never arrives because every finish line becomes another starting lines and the chase continue. Not because you truly want more, but because stopping has started to feel unsafe. Maybe this is where the real question begins. What if busyness is not the problem? What if busyness is the symptoms? Because constant activities can distract us from deeper questions. Questions like, who am I without my achievements? What gives my life value? Am I enough with constantly proving myself? These are uncomfortable questions, and sometimes staying busy feels easier than facing them, not consciously, not intentionally, but psychologically. So, what is the solution? It is not becoming lazy, it is not giving up ambition, it is not abandoning your goals. The goal is not to stop achieving, the goal is to stop using achievements as proof of your worth. To work because you choose to, not because you are afraid to stop, to rest without guilt, to slow down without feeling worthless, to understand that your value does not disappear that moment you becomes unproductive, because your worth was never supposed to depend on your output. Maybe that is why so many people feel exhausted today. Not because they are weak, not because they are lazy, but because they are carrying in a burden they were never meant to carry. The burden of constantly proving their value again and again and again. And perhaps real freedom begins when you no longer need to earn the right to exist, when you no longer need to justify your worth through achievement, when you finally allow yourself to be human. Maybe the reason you can't stop moving is not because you have too much to do, maybe it is because you have spent years believing that your worth depends on what you do. And if that is true, then busyness is not productivity, it is escape.